The day I opened that email was the day I stopped believing my wife was who I thought she was. It was a Tuesday morning, cloudless, unremarkable, the kind you forget by lunch. I was in my home office, the soft clatter of keys keeping rhythm with the coffee cooling beside me. Claire had left 20 minutes earlier, a kiss on the cheek, her heels tapping out of the driveway. That was our life, a kiss, a coffee, a day. 12 years of it. Comfortable. Predictable. I used to think that was a good thing. She worked in marketing for a boutique firm downtown, a role she used to light up talking about. Lately, though, she came home quiet, head down, fingers glued to her phone. At first, I thought it was the usual stress. Deadlines, coworkers. Normal things. But then the smiles started feeling thinner. Her phone never left her hand. And her laughter, the kind that used to ring out while she watched baking shows or teased me about my gray hairs, it got quieter. I didn't think much of it until that morning. She left her phone on the counter. That in itself was strange. Claire never forgot her phone. Never. I stared at it like a bomb someone had set on the kitchen island. It buzzed once. Then again. Then silence. I walked over. On the screen, just a single preview. Jonas, last night was dangerous. I liked it. My chest tightened. The kind of tightening that doesn't come from jealousy, no, something colder. Something like recognition. That you're looking at the tip of a blade, not the handle. I didn't open it. I left the phone exactly where it was, turned off my coffee machine, and walked out onto the porch. I sat there for a long time, watching the neighbor's dog chase leaves. My own mind chasing ghosts. When Claire came home that night, she noticed instantly. Her eyes darted to the counter like a reflex. When she saw the phone there, unmoved, she froze for half a beat, then picked it up with a bright, too easy smile. "You didn't text me today," she said. "You didn't either," I replied. She kissed my cheek. I didn't move. We had spaghetti for dinner. She scrolled TikTok while I did the dishes. We pretended everything was fine. But that name stuck in my head like a sliver of glass, Jonas. 2 nights later, she was curled up in bed beside me, screen turned low, tapping away under the blanket. I pretended to sleep, chest rising and falling in rhythm, but my mind was sharp, coiled. That night, I made a decision I once would have called a betrayal. I installed a spyware app on her phone. I told myself it wasn't about catching her. It was about clarity. Peace of mind. Even if it revealed nothing, at least I'd stop feeling this ache behind my ribs. The kind of ache that keeps you from breathing all the way in. The next morning, I watched the logs trickle in. Messages. Deleted images. Hidden files. Every byte felt like a breadcrumb laid out for me, each one daring me to keep following. And then I saw it. A file named img_2849_secret. Sent just after midnight. No preview. No context. Just a timestamp, a thread, and the image. I clicked. The loading bar felt longer than our marriage. When it opened, I sat completely still. It was Claire. My Claire. The soft blue light of our bedroom window casting shadows over skin I knew better than my own hands. Posed. Pouting. Undressed. The kind of photo I hadn't seen her send in nearly a decade, and certainly not to me. She had taken it while I was asleep, 6 feet away. And she'd sent it to Jonas. That night, I didn't confront her. I couldn't. I watched her brush her teeth like any other evening. Fold her pajamas. Check the stove. Turn off the lights. Slide into bed. She kissed my shoulder like always and whispered, "Good night, babe." I turned away, eyes open, heart clenched like a fist. Tomorrow, I told myself. Tomorrow I'd find out who Jonas really was. Tomorrow, I'd stop pretending not to see the cracks in the walls. The next morning, I didn't check the logs right away. I couldn't. I made coffee like always, kissed her cheek like nothing was wrong. She was already dressed, hair pinned, lips glossed in that subtle coral shade she thought made her look professional but approachable. "Big meeting today?" I asked casually. She smiled. "Just quarterly review stuff." I nodded, pretending not to see her glance at her phone every 5 seconds. I wondered if she could feel the air shift. If she noticed the way my voice trembled ever so slightly. Or maybe she was too caught up in Jonas to hear the silence between us. She left at 8:12. I waited 10 full minutes before walking to my laptop. There it was. The log. New entries. I clicked. Thread title, Jonas, Telegram. My palms were sweating. "Jonas, did you think about me last night?" "Claire, I couldn't sleep. My heart was racing." "Jonas, from what we did or what we're going to do next?" "Claire, both." I read it 3 times, hoping the words would rearrange into something less damning. They didn't. Further down. "Jonas, still have that picture? The one with the red set?" "Claire, you mean this one?" Smirking face, image file attached. I didn't open it. I didn't need to. The message that followed chilled me. "Jonas, keep sending more and we keep this between us. Otherwise, I might accidentally forward something, elsewhere." No emoji. No wink. Just threat. I leaned back in the chair, my heartbeat dull and heavy in my ears. So it wasn't just an affair. It was extortion. And she hadn't told me. She was still talking to him. Still sending. Still feeding it. There was a moment, strange, still, detached, where I wondered if I felt more betrayed by the cheating or the lying afterward. Like a drowning man trying to decide what hurt more, the fall or the water. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. I didn't know what I was looking for anymore. I clicked his profile. No last name. Just Jonas and a blurry photo. Could be anyone. Could be fake. Could be someone 10 minutes away. Could be someone we knew. I searched his phone number. No matches. I tried his email address, which she had saved under the same alias in her hidden album. It linked to a Reddit account. And that's where I found it. A post. From 3 weeks ago. Title, "What's the best way to anonymously leak nudes to someone's husband without getting caught?" Asking for a friend, winky face. I didn't even finish reading. I slammed the laptop shut. Everything in my chest went still. Not quiet, still. Like a deer right before it runs. He was planning to send them to me. Maybe he already had. I opened my email. Nothing. I refreshed. Still nothing. But he would. Sooner or later. Because Jonas didn't want Claire. Not really. He wanted power. And I had just discovered the fuse beneath our marriage was already lit. Tomorrow, I told myself. Tomorrow, I wouldn't wait. Tomorrow, I'd look her in the eye and ask her who the hell she thought she was talking to. That night, I couldn't sleep. Not because of the messages, not even because of the blackmail. It was because she had kissed me goodnight. Gently. Softly. Like everything was okay. Like she wasn't sending pieces of herself to a stranger who was threatening to destroy her. Destroy us. I lay there staring at the ceiling, counting the seconds between her breaths. Wondering if she'd ever done the same. Wondering if she'd ever watched me with that kind of silence and suspicion. Around 2 a.m., her breathing slowed. Steadied. She rolled away from me. I heard the soft click of her phone waking up. And I knew. I waited 10 minutes. Then got up, moved to the office, opened the monitoring feed. There it was. 2:12 a.m. Telegram thread, Jonas. Active. I watched, not in real time, but close enough. Her words, his replies. She just sent another picture. This time with the caption, "You like when I play the bad girl, don't you?" And his reply, asterisk, "Only if you're bad enough to need punishing." Then came the kicker. "Jonas, let's see more. And this time, say my name. Record it." She hesitated. Not long. 30 seconds later, the message showed, uploading video. MP4-inch. I didn't open it. I couldn't. Not yet. I sat there, my heart pounding like a drum in a cathedral. My hands shaking. I opened a new folder, titled it Claire_Truth, and saved the file logs inside. One by one. Everything. She had no idea I was building a case. No idea I wasn't just some hurt husband stumbling in the dark, but someone quietly arranging the bones beneath her secrets. I watched the timestamps roll on. At 2:37 a.m. she sent him one final message. "Claire, you have to delete these. Promise me." Jonas, why would I ruin something so valuable? The next morning, Claire was all sunshine and Saturday errands. "I was thinking we could hit the farmer's market today," she said, pouring coffee, wrapped in the same robe she wore in the photos. I nodded. "Sounds good." She smiled. Like she believed it. We drove into town. She hummed along to the radio. Told me about a colleague who cried in a Zoom call. Laughed. Bought strawberries. Kissed my cheek when I handed her her favorite iced chai. And the whole time, I watched. Watched her laugh. Watched her touch my arm. And I wondered, not what she was hiding anymore. I knew that. I wondered how long she'd been this good at lying. That afternoon, while she was in the shower, I opened the video. It was short. 26 seconds. The lighting was dim. She'd angled the camera toward the mirror. I could see her reflection. Her face. Her mouth forming the word Jonas like it meant something. There was no fear in her expression. No shame. Only heat. It was the same look she used to give me when we were younger, drunk on wine and music in hotel rooms far from home. Now it belonged to someone else. And maybe, in some twisted way, to everyone else, too. I closed the video. Deleted the copy from my desktop. But not the cloud. No, I kept the cloud. And I renamed the folder. Insurance. Because things were no longer about understanding. They were about control. At dinner, I asked her casually, "Do you ever feel like people online aren't who they pretend to be?" Claire looked up from her pasta, blinking. "Where did that come from?" I shrugged. Saw a Reddit thread today. Guy got catfished. Sent money. Photos. The works. Turned out to be some scammer halfway across the world. She tensed. Just slightly. A flicker. Enough. "That's awful," she said. Voice low. Controlled. I watched her fingers tighten around her wine glass. "It is," I said, nodding. He said he felt more betrayed by the lies than the sex. That it wasn't just about cheating. It was about trust. Safety. She didn't speak for a moment. Then forced a smile. "Well, some people are just emotionally reckless." Emotionally reckless. That night, I didn't touch her. Didn't speak. I stared at the ceiling and counted her breaths again. Only this time, I wasn't wondering who she was. I was wondering who Jonas really was. And what he wanted from my wife next. By Monday morning, my world had shrunk to a blinking cursor. Claire was downstairs, laughing over a video call with someone from her office, but her voice felt like it belonged in a different house. A different marriage. I sat in my office with the folder open, messages, timestamps, images. There were 17 files now. 17 pieces of her sent into the digital void. And she thought they were hers to give. At 10:14 a.m. a new log came through. Jonas had messaged again. Jonas, I want something special today. Something risky. No emojis. No flirting. Just command. Claire, I don't know. I have a meeting at noon. Jonas, then make it quick. Or I make it public. My hand clenched around the mouse. I stared at those 6 words. Cold. Sharp. Clean. I make it public. He was escalating. This wasn't seduction anymore. It was possession. And she was still playing along. Not because she wanted to. I saw the difference now. Her tone had shifted. Her replies were delayed, unsure, afraid. But she hadn't stopped. I scrolled back through the chat history. 2 weeks earlier, Claire had tried to cut things off. Claire, I can't do this anymore. It's wrong. I'm married. Jonas, you should have thought about that before you sent me 10 nudes and moaned my name on video. No hesitation. No mercy. Then a photo appeared in a thread. One she hadn't posted. It was a screenshot of her LinkedIn. Then one of her company's homepage. Then one of my Facebook profile. Jonas, so many people I could forward these to. Claire didn't reply for 5 hours. Then. Claire, what do you want? That was the beginning of the spiral. By Tuesday, he was sending instructions. He told her what to wear. Where to pose. He even gave her lines to say on video. Scripts. She followed them all. Some with shaky hesitation. Others with quiet, practiced obedience. And I watched it all. I watched the way she tried to bargain with him. Begged him to delete files. Offered to send more if he promised to stop. He never did. And she never told me. That was the part one kept circling back to. Not the pictures. Not even the videos. But the silence. Every night she lay beside me, heart pounding with shame and panic, and she never once reached for my hand. Never whispered, I've made a mistake. Help me. Instead, she smiled. Ate dinner. Kissed me goodnight. She was drowning quietly. And somehow, I wasn't worth calling out to. That evening, I checked my email again. Junk folder. Spam. Nothing yet. But I knew it was coming. Jonas wanted to break her. And what better way than to let me find out on his terms? Still, I couldn't help but wonder, why the delay? Then it hit me. He didn't just want to hurt Claire. He wanted to control the moment she shattered. The timing. The setting. The scene. A man like that doesn't burn bridges. He lights them slowly, watches them burn from both ends, just to see who runs first. He wanted me to catch her. He wanted the drama. The pain. The explosion. He wanted her completely destroyed. At 11:27 p.m., Claire got up from bed and went to the bathroom. I waited. Opened the app. She was messaging him. Claire, please. Just stop. I'll send one more. That's it. Then we're done. Jonas, I decide when we're done. Claire, you said that last time. You said if I sent the video, you'd delete the rest. Jonas, that was last week. Claire, I can't live like this. Jonas, then maybe it's time your husband knew. I leaned back in my chair. And smiled. Because finally, he said it. Finally, he crossed the line. That night, I started something new. Not a folder. A plan. I opened a blank document. Typed the name, Jonas. Underneath it. Telegram handle. Email. IP logs from the spyware. Image hashes from the photos. Metadata from the videos. Time zones. If Jonas wanted a game, I was ready to play. Not as a broken husband. Not as a victim. But as the man she never should have underestimated. Wednesday morning started like a lie that hadn't been caught yet. Claire was barefoot at the stove, flipping eggs, humming some 80s pop song like we hadn't been living in a house made of rotting secrets. She wore one of my old flannels. The same one she used to steal when we were dating. And for a second, I almost believed we were still that couple. Before messages. Before Jonas. Then my phone buzzed. No notification preview. Just the Gmail icon. I unlocked it. Subject, your wife. From, Anonymous at Proton Mail. Com. Attachment, IMG. Zip. The floor didn't fall out from under me. It just stopped feeling solid. Claire turned. Want toast? I looked at her. Not really seeing her. Just the outline of the woman who used to be mine. Yeah, I said quietly. She smiled and turned back around. I tapped the file. It opened like a door into a room I didn't want to enter. 12 images. 3 videos. All time-stamped. All her. All sent from her phone. Some in our bedroom. Some in the guest bathroom. One in her car outside her office. The videos had sound. She was speaking to him. Calling his name. No shame. No fear. Just soft breath and quiet surrender. My thumb hovered over the play button. I didn't need to hear it. The images were enough. There was a message at the bottom of the email. She told me you were boring. I thought you deserved to know. Claire brought over my plate and kissed my temple. I flinched. She noticed. What's wrong? I stared at the eggs. They looked perfect. Sunny side up. Just the way I liked them. Nothing, I said. But it wasn't nothing. It was everything. She went to work. I waited 10 minutes. Then opened the folder again. Downloaded every file. Created a new encrypted drive. Saved it under a fake name. Backed it up twice. Then I sat at the kitchen table, the same one we bought in year 3 of our marriage, and stared at the wood grain until it stopped looking like anything at all. When she came home that night, I had the laptop open. The email was on screen. She walked in, keys in hand, smiling. Hey, babe. Then she saw it. Everything in her face dropped at once. She froze mid-step. The silence felt like thunder. Who is he? I asked, without looking up. She didn't speak. So I turned the screen toward her. You sent this to a man who called me boring. Claire made a choking sound. Something between a sob and a gasp. Mike, I can explain. You can try. She didn't deny it. Didn't pretend. She just crumbled. Sank to the floor, her back against the cabinets. It started as flirting. Just comments on a photo. Then DMs. Then. She looked up at me, mascara already bleeding into the corners of her eyes. I never meant to send anything. But once I did, he changed. I nodded. And you didn't stop. He threatened me. So you sent more. She nodded. Tears streamed down. I didn't know how to make it stop. I knelt beside her, not out of sympathy. Not yet. Out of necessity. Because this was the moment. The hinge. The cut. You could have come to me. She covered her face. I thought you'd leave. I stood up. Walked to the fridge. Poured water. Drank it. Then faced her. You were willing to let him destroy me just to avoid seeing me disappointed. Claire cried harder. I didn't comfort her. I picked up my keys. I need air, I said. Please, Mike. Don't leave. I already did, I said, stepping outside. And I meant it. Because the version of me that trusted her, he was already gone. I drove without a destination. Just turned corners until the streetlights thinned and the town started to blur into woods and silence. My thoughts weren't racing. They were slow. Heavy. Like dragging a body through deep snow. I parked near the overlook outside of town, where you could see the whole valley stretch out in flickers of porch light and TV static through windows. Once, Claire and I came here after our 5th anniversary dinner. She'd fallen asleep on my shoulder while we listened to rain hit the windshield. Now I sat alone, listening to the buzz of my own breath. There was no anger. Only gravity. It pulled me down through the memories, through the lies, through the weight of what I knew and the holes of what I didn't. I didn't know how many photos. How many videos. How many messages. How many moments she gave away like they were nothing. Like I was nothing. When I came home, the house was silent. No TV. No lights. No music. Claire was sitting at the kitchen table, elbows on her knees, staring into her empty palms like she was reading some kind of ending. She didn't look up. Did you tell him? I asked. She shook her head. He blocked me. I sat across from her. Tell me everything. She swallowed. Blinked slowly. It started with a comment on a photo. One of those selfies I took in the car, on lunch break. He said I looked like trouble. I laughed. Replied. He was charming. Quick. He made me feel wanted. She nodded. We messaged for weeks. Just talking. Then it shifted. He asked for a picture. Said he wouldn't save it. I believed him. I sent one. Then another. Then more. I didn't know how to stop. You didn't want to, I said. At first, no. I looked at her, and for a moment, I didn't see the woman I married. I saw someone rehearsing sorrow. Hitting the right beats. Eyes glassy. Shoulders trembling. But underneath it all, there was a stillness I couldn't name. When did he start threatening you? A few weeks in. After the video. He said if I didn't keep sending more, he'd leak everything. I begged him. He laughed. Said it was up to me how bad this got. I leaned forward. So you chose to keep it going. You chose not to tell me. You chose to smile and sleep beside me while feeding him more. She looked away. Her lips pressed thin. I was scared. No. You were ashamed. That's different. She didn't argue. Just breathed, slow and hollow. Was it only him? I asked. She jerked her head up. What? Was Jonas the only man you sent those to? Her silence was longer this time. Claire. Yes. Only him. But her voice had changed. Softer. Not shaky. Practiced. And I suddenly realized. I didn't believe her. That night, we didn't speak. I slept in the guest room. Door locked. I dreamt of static. Of faces I couldn't see. Of Claire laughing in the arms of a man with no eyes. When I woke, the pillow was wet. By morning, she had made breakfast. 2 plates. Coffee. My favorite mug. I didn't touch it. She sat across from me, quiet. "Do you want a divorce?" she asked. Her voice didn't crack. It was calm. Like she was asking if I wanted sugar. "Do you want one?" I countered. She shook her head. "No. But I understand if you do." And there it was again. That stillness. Like she had rehearsed every possible outcome. Like she'd already made peace with the loss before it happened. I stood. Looked at her for a long time. Then said, "I don't know what I want yet. But I know what I don't want." "What?" "To be lied to again." She nodded. Tears in her eyes. But she didn't promise. And I didn't ask her to. By the end of that week, something in me had shifted. Not rage. Not revenge. Strategy. I started waking up earlier than Claire, slipping out of bed before the alarm, sitting in the dark living room with my laptop. I wasn't scrolling the spyware feed anymore. I was building a digital map. Jonas left fingerprints. They all do. Metadata. Timestamps. Cached usernames. Deleted Reddit threads. I pulled together everything he'd touched. I didn't know what I was going to do with it yet. But I knew this much. He picked the wrong husband. Claire was trying, in her way. She stopped wearing makeup. Stopped scrolling her phone. Cooked more. Was quiet more. She even suggested therapy. "We can go together," she said, folding laundry on the bed. "Or just me, if you'd prefer. Whatever you need." She looked so earnest. So desperate to patch the thing she'd ripped wide open. But some part of me no longer needed the stitching. Some part of me had already accepted the scar. That night, I set up a new email under a burner name and sent a message to Jonas. "We know who you are. We know what you've done. Stop now or deal with what comes." No reply. But the Telegram account went dark the next day. Claire noticed. She told me during dinner, voice shaking, hands still. "He's gone. I think he blocked me." I nodded. "Good." She stared at me. "Did you do something?" I met her eyes. Would it matter? She didn't answer. Friday afternoon, I took the day off. Transferred half our joint savings into a private account I'd opened that morning. Moved some belongings into a storage unit across town. Quiet things. Small things. But enough. Just in case. Not because I was leaving yet. But because I didn't want to be caught unprepared again. That night, I asked Claire a question I'd been holding in my throat for days. "Do you still love me?" She didn't hesitate. "Yes. More than ever." But love doesn't look like fear. It doesn't look like secrets buried under apologies. It doesn't sound like, "Please don't leave," every time you walk out the door. It sounds like truth. And I hadn't heard that in months. Saturday morning, she made breakfast again. Sat across from me. Waited. "What are we now?" she asked. And I told her the truth. We are broken. But not beyond repair. She cried. For the first time in front of me without hiding. Not the kind of tears meant to win sympathy. The kind that fall when you're finally realizing what you've done. I didn't reach for her hand. But I didn't pull away either. That afternoon, I logged into the cloud one last time. I looked at every file Jonas had sent. Every photo. Every video. Then I deleted them. Not out of forgiveness. But because I refused to let his fingerprints stay in my life. He doesn't get to live here anymore. And maybe Claire doesn't either. Not the version of her who made these choices. But maybe. Maybe there's another version waiting beneath the ash. Sunday morning, she asked if I wanted to go for a walk. It was overcast. Cool. The air smelled like damp leaves and burnt wood, that early autumn perfume of endings. We walked side by side in silence. Past the old church. The house with the wind chimes. The bench where she once told me she wanted kids. Neither of us spoke until we reached the overlook. The valley below looked unchanged. I wasn't. Claire took a breath. I never thought it would end up like this. Neither did I. She turned to me, her eyes bloodshot but steady. What happens now? I looked at her for a long time. Really looked. She wasn't hiding anymore. There was a kind of ruin in her, yes. But also something raw. Honest. Something I'd begged for weeks. Now we decide what's worth saving, I said. That afternoon, we started talking. Really talking. Not through clenched teeth or guilt-laced bargains. Just slow, painful honesty. She told me about the months before Jonas. The loneliness. The fear she was aging out of attention. The resentment she never voiced. The way my silence felt like absence. And I listened. Not to excuse. But to understand. Then I told her what it felt like to read those messages. To see the woman I loved turn into something private and performative for a stranger. She cried again. But this time, I cried too. Over the next week, we set rules. No lies. No unearned forgiveness. Therapy. Separately, then together. And time. As much as it takes. The house grew quieter. But the silence wasn't sharp anymore. It was space. A place to rebuild or to walk away with grace. A month later, I returned the storage unit keys. 2 months after that, we took a weekend trip. No pressure. No expectations. Just walking, laughing. Learning how to be with each other again without scripts. And one night, by the sea, she took my hand and whispered, "I'm not the woman I was. But I want to be someone you can trust again." I looked at her. Saw the grief. The effort. The slow rebuilding of a broken temple. And I believed her. Not fully. Not yet. But enough. People think betrayal is the end. Sometimes it is. But sometimes it's the fire that reveals what the walls were hiding. Now, every day, I choose. Not to forget. But to see clearly. To speak fully. To hold gently. Love isn't blind. It's choosing to look and stay anyway. For now, that's what we're doing. Together. The waves don't ask why you fell. They just keep moving.